Hey everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Now in today's exciting video, we'll be learning how to build a very simple AI assistant using Python programming language, and this is a very fun activity guys. Now in this AI system that we'll be building, this AI system will have the ability to recognize our words. That means it is able to recognize our speech, and then it is also going to have the ability to perform the task. So as we proceed in today's video, you'll understand what exactly is this AI assistant and a high level design of this AI assistant. We'll also look into the various libraries that is involved when we talk about this AI assistant. Finally, we are going to implement it in a hands-on manner using Python programming language. So let's start with the first basic question. What exactly is this AI assistant? Now here, when we talk about this AI assistant is actually an application program which understands the natural language, which is my voice command, and it is going to complete the task for the user. For example, the AI assistant example is Alexa, so I can say, hey Alexa, switch on the light. Or I can speak to Siri, hey Siri, what are you doing? And the Siri is going to respond to me, isn't it, guys? So it works in each and every time. So I can say, I can say, for example, hey Siri, what's the weather today? And then the Siri is going to respond to me. It says it's currently cloudy right now. Let me give you an example, guys. I'm sure you can correlate it. So I can say, hey Siri, what's the weather today?
It's currently cloudy and 24 degrees. Expect thunderstorms starting in the afternoon. Temperatures will be fairly consistent, averaging about 23 degrees.
Now that's the response from the Siri that I have got right now. Guys, this is just an example and we see it in each and everything. You might have experienced this AI assistant with bank. Just want to let you know. So I think I have experience with Kotak Mahindra Bank that we have in India. So when you call to the customer care, so instead of IVR, the bank now has AI assistant where you can let the AI assistant know as what exactly is the issue, and instead of redirecting to a general screen or general menu, it is going to redirect you to a specific menu. And that's the level that we see the applications in the current world, guys. So that is what an AI assistant is, the importance, and that is how it is proceeding right now, which we observe in this industry. Now, talking about this AI assistant, what exactly it's going to have? Now, when we talk about this AI assistant, see, first, it should be able to hear our words and it should be able to understand what we are trying to convey. Do you agree with me? Yes, that means it needs to have a system which is capable to convert my voice into a text. So it should have voice to text processing, and then once it generates the text, it should have the ability to speak out the text. And along with that, it should have the ability to perform the task. If you have used any smart device, I'm sure you can correlate. If you have experienced with Alexa, in the Alexa, you can set the task, what you have to do. And you can also say at the 5 a.m. every morning, you want to wish as good morning, and the Alexa is going to do it for you. So what is happening? The Alexa, you are going to specify the values or you're going to specify the commands to it. It is able to understand the commands from our voice and it is able to react to it. So that is what an AI system will have. And in today's learning journey, we are going to build such system. We are going to build such system which is having the ability to listen to our voice, and then it is also able to process it. And once it processes it, it is also able to take the action. So that's the interesting and a very simple application that we are going to build today. Now, in order to do that, we would require some of the libraries. So we would require the libraries such as PyAudio, speech recognition, and PyTT-SX3, that is text to speech library. So these are the three important libraries that we would need. So let's not waste any more time. Let's start coding, guys. So in order to do the coding, so I'm going to open up my VS Code. So I'll be writing the Python script over here inside this VS Code, and you can feel free to use any of your favorite IDE. Now, before we do that, there's some more setup that you have to do in your system. First, in order to do that setup, what I'll do right now is I'll go ahead and I'll install the libraries. Now, before I install the libraries, it's always a best practice to create a virtual environment and run the code from that virtual environment so that you have taken care of all the important dependencies that you have. Okay, so that is what you have to take care. So let's go ahead and let's set up the virtual environment. Since I'm using the Anaconda, I'm going to create a new environment. I'll create a new environment as Conda. Okay, and I will mention as create, and here I'll specify the name. Okay, I'll mention the name as -n, and I'll specify the name as speech recognition. So that's the name that I'm going to set out for my virtual environment, and I'm going to specify the version as Python 3.8. So right now the Py audio library that we have, that is Py audio package that we would need, that doesn't support Python 3.9. Hence I'm setting up this version as 3.8 for now. So this is going to create the new environment for me. Okay, let's wait for it. Now it is currently collecting the package. And once the environment has been created, we can go ahead and activate that environment. So I'll specify the confirmation. Now it just goes ahead and creates that environment for me. And once it's created, I can go ahead and activate it and perform the installation of other libraries. So in the meantime, I'll let you know the other libraries which we'll be using. So we'll be using the speech recognition. So speech recognition is one library that we'll be using. Okay. And along with that, we'll be installing the Pi audio. So we'll be installing that Pi audio as well, and then text to speech. So those are the libraries that we'll be installing. So perfect. This has been uh, ins created. Next, Conda activate speech recognition. Okay, once I activate this speech recognition environment, I can see now I'm inside this environment. I'll just go ahead and do this installation. So pip install speech recognition. So this will take care of the installation of the speech recognition. Okay, now it has successfully installed. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'll install the library which will help me to convert my text into the speech. Okay, so text to speech library. I'm currently doing the installation, so this will take care of that installation. And now the next thing that I'll be doing is I'll go ahead and install the Pi audio. So don't worry, I'll be sharing all these commands in the description tab. You can go ahead and check out the description of this video to get the instruction and the commands that I'm using right now to perform this installation. So this will install the Pi audio. So with this, we have taken care of all the important dependencies. Now what I'm going to do right now is I'll start by importing the necessary libraries. So I'll say import PyTT-SX3, okay, and I'll be importing my speech recognition. So import speech recognition as SR, okay, and I'll be importing the web browser. Now I'll be talking about it why I'm importing it. I'll specify about it at a later point. Now, first thing that we would need is we need to have an ability for my program so that it can generate the voice from the given text. Now, in order to do that, here I'm going to initialize it. I'll say engine is equal to pyttsx3 dot init. Okay, and inside the parenthesis, I'll mention it as SAPI5. So this is an API which has been provided by Microsoft. So we are going to use this API to generate the voice from the text data. Okay, so this is the Microsoft developed speech API. This will help me to synthesize and recognize my voice. Now, what I'm going to do once I initialize this, I'm going to create it as voices and I'll say engine dot, I'll mention my property. So get property and I'll get the voices. I'll get this property of voices. And once I get this voices, I'm going to set the property. So I'll say engine dot set property and I'm going to set the property of this voices. Okay. And what I need, I'll say voices 0 dot id. So which means I'm going to get a male voice. If I want a female voice, I'll just have to say voices 1 dot id. So this is how I'm going to set the property for my voices. Okay, I've set the property of voice to be voices 0 dot id. Okay, this is how I'm going to get the details and I'm going to set the default voice ID for me. Now this is going to generate the speech from the given text. Now for our implementation purpose, what I'll do right now is once I have specified like this, okay, I'm going to create a function and this is a function and this function I'll call it as speak. Okay, this will get from this will take an audio as an input. Okay, and here I'll say engine.say and this is going to uh, say the audio whatever I'm going to specify as a text, and at the end I'm going to say engine run and wait. So what this is going to do is it is going to run an event until all the commands are queued up until this method call complete. So unless and until I mention this method, we'll not be able to hear the output. That is the main reason that we specify like this. Now, in order to get the input from me, I'll define one more simple function. I'll say def and take input. Okay, this is a function that I'm creating. And here I'll create an R as recognizer. Okay, recognizer is something that I'll be creating right now. Next, I'm going to write it like this with speech recognition microphone as source. So I'm going to get the source from my microphone that I'm speaking, and whenever it is listening, I'll get the message that says as I am listening. Okay, it's a very intuitive so that it will help me that okay, it is ready to get my input. Next, I'm going to say r dot pause threshold and I'll set it equal to 1. This will help me to set the threshold. Next, I'm going to say audio is equal to r dot listen source. So which means it is going to listen to the source, that is it is going to get the input from my microphone. Okay, now once it does that, once it gets the source, okay, next thing is it has to process this. So it has to perform the recognition. Okay, so I'll say on it. Next, I'm going to get the query. Query is nothing but I'm trying to recognize what is my input. In order to recognize, we've got various APIs which is present in my speech recognition. We can make use of Bing server, Google Cloud, Houndify, IBM, Sphinx, WIT. So these are the various servers or the APIs and I can use it for me. For for our working, I'll make use of this recognize underscore Google, and inside this, I'll mention the audio, and here the language, I'll set it equal to English India. Okay, I'm speaking in an English language and I'm from India. And I'm going to say, uh, okay, you said, and I'm going to display whatever the query that I've got. Okay, I'll go to next line. Now, once this is done, okay, if I get any exception, I would say except. Okay, so I'll say except exception as E. Okay, and I'm going to write something like this. I'll say inside this print, sorry, I'm not sure. That's a typical response that we would get from Siri. So next, what I'm going to do is I'll return query. So if the system is unable to get anything, I'll return none. Okay, this is how I'll be returning. Now, this method should get executed when I'm running over here as a Python script file. So, in order to do that, I'll say if underscore underscore name equal to main. Okay, and I'm going to say first I'll get an welcome. Okay, hello, welcome to your very first AI project. We are super excited for your learning. Okay, so this is how I'm going to wish my someone who is using my application. Next, I'm going to create a while loop. I'll say while true. Okay, and I'll get a query. To get a query, I'll say take input. Okay, take input, and whatever the output that I would get from the take input function, that is my query, I'll convert it into a lowercase. And once I convert it into a lowercase, I'll do it like this. Okay, I would say if I say open YouTube, okay, in query, and I'm going to write that I am going to say that web browser web browser dot query, so dot open, so I want to open something, and I want to open youtube.com slash manifold AI learning. So this is what I want to open when I say open YouTube. So I'll save this Python script file. So it's very simple, it's very intuitive, as you have clearly seen here in this scenario. I'm importing the necessary libraries. I'm setting the voice, and here when my Python script is run, this is the welcome message that I'm going to get, and I'll get the query from the user from the microphone. And if I say open YouTube, it will open the YouTube channel. In order to do that, I'm making use of this web browser. So let's execute this. I'm going to say Python AI assistant.py. Now let me just execute this.
Hello, welcome to your very first AI project. We are super excited for your learning.
Did you hear that, guys? It said, welcome to your first speech recognition project. Thank you for your learning journey. So it's clearly said, welcome to your very first AI project, and we are super excited for your learning. Okay, I think it had listened to whatever I said. Okay, open YouTube. See, when I said open YouTube, it automatically started the action and it took me to this YouTube website, that is youtube.com slash manifold AI learning. Guys, it is able to recognize my voice. It is able to recognize the text. And from that text, it is taking the action from whatever I'm speaking. Now, this is crazy. Whatever I'm speaking, it is just listening. Okay. Open YouTube. So whatever I'm speaking, it is able to see, understand it. It is able to recognize my words, guys. So I'll just stop this. So I hope you now have an idea as how you can build your own AI system. Now the best part is you can integrate with your machine learning applications. For example, instead of simply saying like with the help of if condition, you can simply say you can perform the pre-processing on the text data, or you can make use of transformers or apply into the deep learning and take the action on that basis. So I hope in this video you now have a working knowledge as how does an AI system would work. In AI system, it basically has a speech to text and text to speech modules, and then it also has a processing module which will process the text data and then give me the output, and using that output I'm going to generate back the text. So, with this, we come to the end of today's session, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Do check out the links and description for the code, that is a source code that we have used in today's session. So, thank you so much. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.